Welcome in, welcome in. So, I don't know if y'all heard, but my quest is now to not cuss in the first 7 seconds of any video. And let's see if we could just not go full potty mouth, because apparently that is unacceptable to YouTube. Although everything I have is not for kids, because I don't want to talk to people's kids at all. So, like, nothing here is for kids. Even that Snoopy video I posted, not for children. It's for adults. It's adult Snoopy. I made that post. That thing is not for kids. Now, who's here? Polly Walnut. Yo, Polly Walnuts. What's up? Luca Brazzi sleeps with the fishes. You seen The Godfather? The original Godfather is epic. Now, Goodfellas was filmed in my hometown, so I should like that more. But the original Godfather is the epic, like the ultimate one. Anyhow. Oh, and scenes from The Godfather were filmed 5 miles from my house, because I grew up there. Anyhow, yeah, everything after that was interesting, and Michael, what do you call it? Al Pacino was great, but it's always the original. The sequels are always sequels. So I just came from the range, zeroing 2 rifles. Goodfellas, Casino is the shit. Love Casino. Anyhow, just came from the range with 2 rifles. One of them zeroed up pretty good. 6.5 Creedmoor in a precision in one of my MDT Oryx chassis. And the other MDT 6.5 Creedmoor Howa factory barrel, Howa factory action, and a Bushnell 5-30 scope, Match Pro scope. And as I was saying on the way down, that thing's really fucking nice. Got it on a crazy sale at also Black Friday, I think, or something like that. I just found it, and I was like, yes. And I think the first time I shot a 550, my buddy's wife had that scope on her rifle, and I thought, wow, this thing's got just looks beautiful. And the picture, and they weren't wrong. Anyhow, but then the other one was my BCA 6.5 Creedmoor bolt action, fucking huge pain in the ass gun that took forever to get built. Let me close some of the windows in here. And I don't think the problem's with the scope. So I'm zeroing it, and I get it pretty close, right? And then I just walk, and I'm like, wow, this thing's fucking walking all over the place. So I take a shot, and it's 2 inches below the bullseye. Don't change anything. Take another shot. It's another 2 inches below the bullseye. Take another shot. It's another 2 inches below the bullseye. I'm like, fuck, I think so I adjusted up a little bit, just like 2 or 3 clicks, and it went 4 clicks, like 2 inches above the bullseye. I'm like, yeah, this scope's fucked. But no big deal. I mean, I have like 15 scopes from those guys. It's the first one I ever had a problem with it. The OG is in the house. Right on. Welcome in. Rock out, pop out. Let's see. Rock out with your Glock out. Bars. Sure. Now, every time I go from 600-yard comp to 600-yard comp, I have to re-zero. I have 2 main competition guns, and I have to zero them out, right? I have to zero them up or get them on target, because they're different, one for a couple of different reasons. So anyhow, I thought, well, maybe I'll just keep one for one range for one competition and one for the other, and then I don't have to change my main guns around all the time. which in theory should work okay. But I like shooting a lot more, so I wanted some extra guns. So I figured I would put these other guns together. Well, shit, I mean, just whatever. The way I would use them is I would, instead of having my two main guns, I'd have one main gun for one competition, get an accompanying gun to shoot, and same thing. So then I'd have 4 competition guns. But I mean, everything I have that we can shoot at 600 pretty much. We have the best YouTube family. Lucas, welcome in. Please subscribe to the channel. Did you do it? So, did your team play today, Dallas? What team could Dallas? Somebody named Dallas. Did the Cowboys win? I don't even know if they played. I don't really follow football, to be honest. Sorry. We are the best YouTube family bars. Fuck yeah. Come in. So yeah, if you're new to the channel, Lucas, please subscribe. We got lots of 2A content. Lots of bad habits. Don't smoke. Smoking's bad for you. So yeah, that was my day. So I think that scope's bad because it's just walking on the vertical axis. You know, if the barrel was bad, it would just group badly. You know, just group wider and wider, but it wouldn't shoot on one axis perfectly and one axis badly. That's a scope walking on the vertical axis, at least according to any way I could figure it out. But you know, I'm really good when stuff's going good. When it's going bad, then you got to figure it out. And that's what I figured out. So the easiest thing for me to do would be to put a different scope on it and see if it zeroes up. And then if that's crisp, then we know it ain't that. And then I'll just send that one, the other bad scope, back to Arkin and let them deal with it. Paul, what cigar did you have? Did you inhale? Did you get sick? And what's with the YouTubers eating on the channel? You know, like that's like a thing. People want to see you eat and drink and do normal human things. Well, except if you're on camera, it would be more normal to not eat. So what was tell us about your cigar experience, Paul? Type it out, bitch. I'm sorry. You know, I don't mean that. I'm just talking. Oh, damn. So I was making an effort to not cuss on the channel, and then I forgot. But I heard it's a big deal. Oh, my dad smokes those. He loves those. They're real mild, supposedly. So that's a good place to smoke if you're not a heavy cigar smoker. That's a mild cigar, so you'll be good there. They come in big ring gauges. The fatter, bigger, wider the cigar, typically the more mild it's going to be also, because you got the wrapper is where the flavor and the strength comes from. If you have more filler and binder in there, then it's going to disperse some of the intensity of the wrapper if you have a stronger wrapper. Put me in space, dog. Fuck yeah. That's the whole point. You don't have to finish, by the way. Yeah, like just smoke them while you enjoy them, and then when you feel like you're starting to turn green, set it down. Get some water, drink. Food. If you smoke a cigar on an empty stomach, it'll hit you way harder than if you have it after dinner. Barely smoked. There you go. Well, if you light it back up, get it good and going, and then blow through it, and that clear for like 5 seconds. That'll clear the ash and all that shit out of the body of the cigar, the ash flavor, and it comes back real quick that way. So I had a couple of cocktails last night, which I don't usually do. I had Sosa tequila, and jalapeno lemonade mixer. And it was a little spicy. I was just wanting to relax a little bit. I wasn't wound up or nothing, but I was just kind of bored. And it was quiet. Spent the day at home with my wife, which was nice. And then she was doing crafts all day. And I was conditioning the whips. I don't know if you heard, I have a large bullwhip collection large exotic bullwhip collection, which was my obsession before I got into guns. Now I have a large exotic rifle collection. Yeah, no, I feel you, Paulie. I have a couple of. It might be a minute before you get back to it. Um, so, so I had a couple of cocktails last night. I felt a little buzzed. My wife made some delicious ribeyes for us, and it was a lovely evening. And then Overton had a live, so I was on Overton's live for a long time because of all the long distance stuff, and and then when I got back to, I think Dallas was the only one on. I was on that one for a minute. Jalapeno lemonade, yes, jalapeno lemonade. It had a bit of a tang to it, twang. I recommend it. I always used to like tequila with ginger echinacea lemonade, ginger lemonade. And that would because that one had kind of a dirty lemonade ginger flavor to it, and I really like that with the tequila because I like dirty things in my mouth. So anyhow, yeah, he's always playing poker. That's his gig. But which I don't really play cards and whatever. So it ain't nothing for me. But I was bored as shit, and he was on, so I went. I was supposed to go to his thing his meetup, but the more I heard about it, the less it sounded like what I thought it was going to be. So I sold my ticket to one of the crew because I bought it at a discount before the price went up. So they were really happy to get it. I drink like a lady. I like to barely taste it. Pause. No, that's cool. I don't hardly drink at all. First of all, because I'm older now, it's really hard to process the alcohol. So I'll be tired for a couple of days if I drink too much, like 4 days if I drink too much. And I feel fine today. Tequila hits a little differently. I think I'm just going to drink that. I like vodka too. But like if I drink a couple of scotches, I'm worn out for like 4 days. So I'm kind of not drinking. My wife is married to an alcoholic, so anytime it's a different person. So if I drink, it freaks her out. So I don't drink a whole lot. Mista's at 11 and a half years no drinking, 11 and a half years sober. Congratulations. If that is what I'm reading correctly, congratulations. Because Martin and Belair Champagne. Right on. I used to like, when I was a kid, I was your age, or younger, I used to like Remy a lot. But just Remy. Anyhow, we don't need to talk about it. I think the last time I got into that bottle was like a year ago anyhow. I just don't drink very much. Like I said, because it just doesn't, it's not, as you get older, it's not easy to process. So I just don't do it. And my wife's ex-husband, my wife was married to an alcoholic, and it didn't go well for her. Went well for me though, because that didn't last, and now I'm married to the most wonderful woman in the whole wide world. So, but at the cost of the low price of not being able to drink much around her, because she don't like it, and I don't drink much, so it don't matter. Can you all hear me okay? Because because the wind noise and all that. Well, yeah, I have a friend who's an alcoholic. She's like, "What are these half-full bottles of alcohol in your house? I don't understand that. If I ever opened a bottle of alcohol, you drink it till it's gone, and then you open the neck." And I was like, "Oh well, I guess that's a different perspective." But she's like 19 years. Well, it's my chosen sister, and she's like 19 years sober. So I learned a lot about it. She's also an addiction counselor now. So we learn a lot from her. Thank you, Paul. I'm glad, because I got a lot of wind noise in here. I'm always worried about that when I'm doing lives in the truck. All right, well, I'm just in the truck, just going live with my range report. Plus, these lives when I'm driving seem like a good time to go. Plus, the afternoons don't, like, I hope I didn't step on anyone when I went live, but the afternoons seem like a really good time to go. And dinner time, too, because it seems like the gun tubers don't show up until after dinner. And when I say the gun tubers, I actually mean the guys who run their channels like a business, and they're on every night for 4 hours, like Kenny and Pete and Jerome. So, where you? Oh, well, this is I'm about an hour south of Seattle. I'm down on the south end of Seattle, like hour south. Like Tacoma. Yeah, it's nice because it's a little raining, but it ain't fucking pouring anymore because this shit was all floating away. This shit was all underwater. It has not been bad for me because I live on a hilltop, but then we got to worry about mudslides. But down in the valley, all the shit was on. There's two main freeways going north. One's I-5, and I-5's on a hill. And the other one's down on the valley floor, and I don't even know if it's reopened yet. It was closed for the week. So the way it impacted me most was, and some people were super fucked in big houses, got flooded and shit, and my heart goes out to them. But just in terms of how it impacted me, was it like, instead of taking a half hour, 35 minutes to get to work, it took an hour. And getting home, instead of taking 45 minutes, was taking an hour and a half because traffic was fucked. But, there goes me cussing on my live again. I'm trying not to cuss on my live. We'll see if it works. It's not looking very promising. So the rivers look a lot better right now. I just drove over one. It looks okay. But, like, every time you drive over them, it's terrifying to see how high they were. But it seems like it's going down. But I don't for a second expect, I haven't checked the weather, but I would easily expect 4 more days of rain and flooding. But it did get colder. And so I'm looking at the river right now. It's down about 4 feet instead of down about 2. What part of Oregon did you live in, mister? Yeah, well, floods are fucking serious. But yeah, I mean, when it was like 50 degrees and raining, we got a foot and a half of rain in 6 days. But now it's down about 40. I don't know, it says 52. But it's been getting colder, so it feels so. If it's colder, there's less humidity, which means there's less rain. But I don't know what the forecast is. Highway closed due to local crisis, and it was a crisis for a lot of people. It was fucked for everyone. But I'm just hoping it doesn't get bad again and more shit don't happen. Let's just have regular winter and have this be behind us instead of 2 more weeks of flooding and misery for people. But it just goes to show you that not only that Mother Nature is strong, but there's like everything that you cruise along thinking everything's fine. Here's my program, here's what I'm doing, and then this world we live in when I say this world we live in, I mean the weather, the earthquakes, floods, fires, the power of nature. We live in a impermanent environment, and we built shit that was supposed to be permanent. Like, it was fine when you built on the hilltop. When you started building in the valley, because you had good dams, or you thought you did, that's a whole different program now. Lebanon is still underwater. I did not know that Lebanon was underwater because I was dealing with all the local shit, and I don't watch the news anymore because it's all fucking bullshit. I mean, it's not, but I mean, just the way they report it is crap. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle person, if they're left or they're right or they're blue or they're red. There's no good news anymore. It's all fucking horseshit. I agree. Well, I mean, it did cause a complete catastrophe for some people. You know what I got to do here? Hold on. I always forget to click the all messages button. So I was probably missing. Just beware sinkholes, landslide, false reservoirs with super deep water. Oh, yeah, I just avoid everything is a good bet. Don't be stupid, right? People are stupid. Like if it's flooding, like shit, the first day, Monday, we just stayed home. We just called work and canceled everything, canceled all our meetings, just because shit was getting bad and we didn't want to wait around. We didn't want to go in and find out we couldn't get home or something. So we just canceled everything. So I apologize if I missed anybody's messages, because I always forget to put set the thing to top messages, from top messages to all messages. So you're nowhere near any of the levees or dams? No, we're fucking totally close to all of them. We had to go over 3 of the, I'm driving over the White River this minute as we speak. We drive over the Green River on the way to work, and the Cedar River is flooded 3 blocks from work, but our place was spared. So, yeah, no, we get all of it. All of it. We're near all of it. But we're up on the hill, so I just worry more about landslides if the ground gets saturated. And there was the windstorm that came after the rain and the saturated ground, so they were expecting power lines. Our power is underground, but all our neighbors' power is above ground, so we're passing power lines right there. So any of these trees could have taken all of us out. My buddy lost power for fucking 4 days. Yeah, no, I think there's like 16 rivers in Western Washington, and 12 of them flooded. Some stupid, crazy shit. Everything that, even if it didn't flood, it was like a foot away from flood stage. Everything could have gone. And most of it did. But those 3 rivers, the Cedar River, the Green River, and the White River, cover the whole valley below Seattle down to like Tacoma. But up on the east, they're coming from the mountains, which are to the east. So it was the east side of the valley floor before you get to I-5, which is up on a hilltop, and then everything west of that. So we got sideways rain, even have rain that comes from the ground. Where are you at now, Bista? Right on. That's how it happened in North Carolina. You're up on a hill, and that saved me. You guys had a fucking horrible storm. I lived in Miami for years, and you get prepared for the shit. I lived in Tallahassee, and it got hit by a Gulf or a hurricane that swung up through the Gulf and fucking wrecked that town. What part? So congratulations on being in Arizona and all your 2A rights that you have. Congratulations. We're looking at like a retiring or a retirement or a second home or something, like a little place there, just to put in a big floor safe, like a walk-in floor safe in the slab. And because when the gun laws get even worse, or they try and take them, you just take them out of the state, take them to a friendly state. Is you down south near Tucson? I don't know where that is. I know where Phoenix and Tucson are, and now I know where Parker and Lake Havasu City are, because that's the area that we've been looking at. I had 100 feet of water in my backyard, and hold on, I'm driving, so it's a little hard to read this, but I'll be in my driveway in a minute, and I can park and read this shit while I finish my cigar. I had over 100 feet of water in my backyard, less than 30 feet from a 90-foot deep river. Well, it's a big river. So we got it extremely bad, but not in the house, luckily. And you looks like part of your house is upstairs. I don't know if you're a second floor place or if you got a reverse floor plan or what, but I'm guessing whenever you do your lives, you're upstairs on the deck, like second floor, but that's just what I guess. When I see the pictures of your array. You're 10 minutes from Cali. So, well, that's pretty cool. So I guess that's Western Arizona. Like when you drive 10 minutes into Cali, where are you in Cali? Like, oh, hold on. Not that I care, I'm just curious, like geography-wise. Oh, we're back. Home sweet home. Westmoreland. I have no idea where that is, but thank you for sharing. Mason, welcome in. We're just wrapping up. Got about that much left in the live. Dams are cracked. This is Paulie. Dams are cracked all around us, and the emergency vac literally ended on my block, so we weren't forced to leave, but I got some pics of how close the water was to my back porch. Well, that's fucked up. Glad you guys were okay. Mason, what's up? You're 3.5 hours from Phoenix. Okay, got it. Thank you for sharing. We're looking at like something between Laughlin, Nevada, and Parker, Lake Havasu City, because we like boating, so that seemed like a good idea for us. Or actually, Vegas. Vegas down to Havasu City. Yeah, you guys got fucked with that storm. Understood. Yeah. No, we've been fortunate here for sure. I just feel bad for all the people in the valley. Now, a lot of that area that got flooded out wasn't homes, um, although they were evacuating there's a million people that live here, and they were evacuating a couple of thousand at a time when the River levee broke, and they got those things repaired pretty quick. But a lot of water came through. Like even on Monday when we were driving to work, the farms were underwater. All you saw was like pumpkins floating. Rain's starting again though. It's been on and off, and it's been fairly light compared to what it was, but it was like nonstop for a while. I mean, it was really wet rain, even by Washington standards. Should anybody go shooting this weekend? Anybody go shooting this weekend? Dallas. Thank you. Who played this weekend, Dallas? No, you live for the football. Well, you can. We were thinking about Arizona we ain't giving up Washington. We got kids here, and we got kids in California, but I don't want to live in California again. Even though it's kind of wonderful. I mean, people talk, oh, California's like, no, California's fucking beautiful, especially near the coast, but I don't want to live there again under those laws, and it's fucking expensive as shit. So, I want a place where I can shoot miles. Haven't been in a minute. Well, I figure I'm pretty much done shooting for the week. I might be able to get out next weekend. But the ranges are all closed on Christmas. Even range people deserve a day off. Christmas, Thanksgiving, probably New Year's Day. Maybe not New Year's Day. I think I'm missing half the competitions next month because we're going to be down in Florida. California, your home state? No, Oregon's your home state. I think you were saying Oregon. Well, I don't know if it's your home state, but you were commenting on Oregon. What part of Oregon were you in? Portland area? We lived down there for like almost a year. Then we moved up here. And we've been here like 20 years. I won a Siley optic last night for pistols from Blicky's Live. Cool. Like a pistol optic? Right on. Oh, so you moved from California up to Oregon and then out to Arizona? Oh, wow. So you just left California a few years ago. Can I ask you don't have to share nothing, but you're welcome to. What part of California were you in? I lived in Santa Cruz for 15 years, in the Bay Area for a couple of years before moving to Santa Cruz. And we moved up here from Santa Cruz in, what part of San Diego are you from? Moved up here from Santa Cruz we moved to Portland in 2004, and then to this area in 2005. One year when I was divorced, I moved down to OB, baby. I was living in Santa Cruz and I got divorced, and I moved to Ocean Beach. And then about a year later, my ex-wife called me up and said I was done being divorced. And even though I was the one who wanted to get divorced in the first place, she's like, yeah, you ain't going to be divorced no more. And Colin said it was time for me to move back to Santa Cruz. And I was like, but she came down to Santa Cruz, came down to San Diego and enrolled me in returning. Uh, I'm getting the recovery tactical from Ken tomorrow, so I'll be wanting to shoot with that real bad. And I'm thinking of putting the Siley on that, but not sure if it'll make sense. Well, you put the dot on the chassis, or you put the dot on the pistol. I don't know how that works. The Ghetto, Spring Valley, and southeast from San Diego. Well, NOB was kind of the ghetto in San Diego. It was all bikers and tweakers in 96 when I lived there, 95, 96. Well, I don't know how that all works then, because I don't shoot pistol chassis. But it would seem like you have to have a very repeatable place where the gun mounts in the chassis. OB is the party spot, or was. Um, and the only businesses that succeed in OB are taquerias and tattoo shops, and maybe the bars. When I lived in OB, I was 32 years old. Lived right across the street from the beach. Surfed every day. Get up in the morning, walk my dogs on the beach, pick my surf spot, put the dogs away. Basically, wake up, pull on some board shorts, and take the dogs for a walk from the pier to the river jetty, and then decide what looked the best, put the dogs away, grab a board, paddle out. And that was my life in OB, and I kind of liked it a lot. But I didn't have any good work in Ocean Beach, so I didn't mind going back to Santa Cruz. And my wife and I still had a lot of love there, so we got back together, spent another 12 years together, had a great kid who's 25 now. And yeah, the marriage didn't last. It felt pretty stupid when we got divorced again for all the same reasons. I was going into that last night a little bit. Fishing back then was great, so the fishing changed. I just started fishing like this year. It was good at 32. It was a lot of fun. Banner, how old do I look? I'm 61. 61, still full of piss and vinegar. Water's nasty now, huh? I mean, even here, there's a lot less fish than there were for salmon. Salmon season here has not been like. So Point Defiance in Tacoma is like we launched the boat down there a lot. The boat. We launched the boat down there a lot, and there's a lot of people salmon fishing. Right on. Missed this 52. Still plenty active at 52. Still pretty active now. Anyhow, yeah, the fishing was like this season just sucked because we'd get out, when we'd get back to the dock, there's always the fish and game person. There's always people bringing in the boats, and nobody was catching any fish. But we're gonna fish there this year. Hopefully there'll be some fish. I got another boat that when I got this boat, I was gonna sell that boat, but I asked my wife if she wanted to sell it or rig it for fishing, and she said she wanted to fish, so rig it for fishing this spring, and hopefully there'll be some fish. But I've fished in the rivers in Alaska, fished in a river in Alaska this year, and fished in the river down here in the salmon runs, and it was a blast. It was absolutely fucking awesome, and want to do more of that for sure. And I'll fish on the boat. I'll learn, like it's a different style of fishing, but it's a nice way to spend a day for sure, especially if you're catching fish. I still got salmon in my freezer from Alaska. Um, Anyhow, about ready to wrap up the live. Anybody else got anything they want to say or add? Go inside and hang out with my wife. All right, let's wrap it up, guys. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate all of you, and appreciate the conversation very much. And it's nice spending a little time with you. And look forward to seeing you guys on your lives. Let me ask you before we wrap it up. Always, right? Polly, what's going on with your lives? I don't know if I'm not getting. It seems like I get a lot of notifications right after the lives end, but I don't get that many notifications when they're going. So, Paul, you going? Or when do you go? Are you like still a weekday guy? What's your gig lately? All right, we'll find out. I'm shutting it down. Oh, here we go. I got a lot going on. Haven't been running them. Okay, well, I'm glad you got stuff going on. I hope it's all good stuff. Notifications suck. Never get them. Well, I'm subscribed to a lot of people. Mister, do you do lives? Well, if you got stuff going on, that's better than spending, an hour or 2 hours or 4 hours going live. Because I enjoyed your lives because you were like the midday guy, which I guess is later for you. But all right, cool. I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna check my notifications for you and check your lives. Only 2 so far. Well, right on. Yeah, I'm like for me, it's hard for me to set them up. Like by the time I get done with my evening and put my wife to bed and all that, and set up a gun table and go live, and it's too late. There's no one on. Um, but these, when I'm driving, it seems like a good time to go on. And we got daylight. Otherwise, I have to set up lights and shit. But as I get more into reloading, I'll do more at the reloading table, I think. All right. This does really cool collection. Also beautiful. Beautiful. I'm going to check more of your shorts today. I appreciate you being here. I remember when I subbed, I checked your channel a little bit, and then, but I'm going to get on and look at more of your stuff. So, anyhow, I'm going to jump out and thank y'all one more time. Thank y'all for being here and have a great day. If I don't do another live between now and then, or if I don't see y'all, have a Merry Christmas or whatever it is y'all celebrate. And be well, be safe, have fun. Oh, well, hold on. I was just about to hit that button. What you got coming, mister? Spill if you want to. Tell us what you got coming. Probably tonight. AR-10, beautiful. 308. Right on. Enjoy that. I just set up one of the guns I was zeroing today is an AR-10 set up in 6.5 Creed, and I have a 308 upper for it also. And I was using the Bear Creek bolt action 6 Creed, but it'll be I don't know if I'm kind of lower comes in tomorrow. Right on. Look forward to you getting that set up. What are you putting a scope on it? And if so, what size? What size are you thinking? I'm all about the scopes. I almost want a 6.5 Creed. Well, if you're reloading, it doesn't matter that much. But when you're buying ammo, 308's like 70 cents a round in bulk, and 6 Creed's like $1.25 or more. If you're reloading, it's fine, but it just depends what you want to do with it. So I have 308 upper and 6.5 upper. Nice. Well, you don't have to spend a lot. The mid-range glass is really fucking good. I'm not sure, thinking about a battle rifle type shit. Well, there's a lot to be, lot of interpretations of what a battle rifle is. But typically, when you talk about a battle rifle, 308 is definitely more, because 5.56 is an intermediate cartridge, where 308 is more of a, let's see, M1 Garand was a battle rifle, and that was at 30-06. And then the M14, which was the shortest lived battle rifle in U.S. history, was a 308. And I would say, you wouldn't want to carry that fucking thing very far, and you only get 20, my nicest is an NC Star right now. It's good, but I know it can be much better. I haven't shot that glass, so I don't know. But there's a point at which I was messing around with Amazon stuff like Monstrum and CV Life, and it just wasn't very good. Even though I saw one really good CV Life review from a reputable hunting guy, one of my favorites are on Spomer Outdoors, if you ever see him. And I got one, and it ain't that good. But you get to like Arkin level, and Arkin is really good at that mid-range price point, and it covers a lot going all the way up. You have to spend a lot more than Arkin money to get appreciably better than that. So that's a good level I would suggest. And I got a lot of Arkins. And then I started branching into like Bushnells and Burris. I've had a Burris hunting scope for a while, but I started getting into bigger, like finding them on crazy sales and down at like Arkin money prices. And I'm really happy with the Arkins. So let me get back here. So getting back to battle rifle, so I'm very interested in that concept. For me, with 308, and so I do a lot more precision rifle shooting, long distance shooting, and 6.5 Creed is a much better caliber for me for that. But you gotta have a 308. If you're gonna go AR-10, you gotta have a 308, right? So I got a 308, but 6.5 Creed makes a lot more sense because I want to be shooting it at 600 yards, and my next thing is 1,000 yards, and my target rifles can easily do 1,000. I don't know. Like the problem's always me, right? Like, but my my target rifles can easily do 1,000 in the 6mm ranges, but especially 6 Creed. But you get to a little heavier round like a 6.5 Creed, and it handles the wind much better. So that's why I do that, and then I go with like 6 to 24 glass or more if I'm going to compete with it. Not sure if I'm going 16 or 18. Well, with 308, I think I went 20, but I usually go 20, like 16. So I think I read somewhere that there's not much difference in terminal velocity or in velocity for 308 with 16 or 18. But I don't even know. But Like I want, typically if I'm going to be, so I have like a 308 with a 20-inch barrel. And it's not that much more to carry, in terms of length and maneuverability, unless you put a can on it and then it starts getting stupidly long. But, and you're not, 308 is not a subsonic cartridge, so you're not going to get a lot out of the suppressor. But shoot, if I could have got a 24 308, I would have, but I wasn't really. 308's, it's just a heavy round. It has a lot of drops, so the bullet part. But I think I went 20 on my 308. And are you building all this? You're saying you're not sure which one you're going with. Where do you usually get your part? If you don't mind my asking, where do you get your parts from? Um, and I usually get stuff from AR-15 discounts. I just got um, I think I got a 20-inch ballistics advantage, which is basically arrow barrel, on sale for $99. And when I saw that, I fucking smashed that button, because $99 for a ballistics advantage barrel is really good. I'd pay double that for plenty of stuff, but I like buy the Bear Creek stuff and try it, and then it's just good sometimes if you get a real heavy barrel from them, but not other times. And so I'm just kind of giving up on Bear Creek. So Bear Creek's cool because we're in a very controlled state here in Washington, and they'll send you can get a Bear Creek bolt action, which is on a mil-spec AR-10 lower. But then, I'll try the Bear Creek barrels, and I've gotten some really good barrels from them. But then I usually end up replacing them with Faxon or Ballistic Advantage or shorties. I go with Roscoe's. I really like primary arms, but haven't had LPV only microdots. So I used to really like primary arms, and I got some good ones from them. But like about 2 years ago, they were having great sales, because I'm a cheap motherfucker. I have a lot of guns, so I'm putting glass on everything, and it gets crazy expensive after a while. Ain't gonna put a Leopold on everything. There's no fucking way. So anyhow, when I think I got a 1-8. I got a 1-6 primary arms LPVO for about $188 on sale. And I got a 1-10 primary arms LPVO for like $288 on sale. And I haven't seen any prices like that from them in over a year. So I kind of I look around for stuff. So there's a great freaking sale, and I don't know if it's still going on, but if you go on PSA, there was a sale for the Vortex Strike Eagle 1-8. It's got a really good reticle. It's got the horseshoe reticle. It's got great illumination, and I ended up buying like 4 or 5 of those because you look at the prices, $699 or whatever, and then you use code STRIKE, and it was $250 or $260 or $270. I saw it as low as $249, but this year it was at $269 with the mount, and I got those on a bunch of our AR uppers. Well, it's same as 5.56. It's just the next size up. So the way it used to be is in 1918, Browning came out with the BAR, which was a 30-06 heavy machine gun that would be carried by one or two. One guy carries the gun, another guy carries the ammo. I don't know exactly how it worked, but it's a significant gun, and that was it. It was just the 30-06. And then in 55, they came out with 308, and that has a smaller, shorter cartridge. So the magazine is a certain length. So that became the short action. The action's shorter, and the magazine well shorter, and that's size for 308. And then they came out with 5.56, and that also has a magazine well, right? and that's even shorter than 308, and that became the mini cartridge. So, and so when you're dealing with these actions, you're dealing with the limitation being the diameter of the bolt face and what cartridge it sits on, and the length of the overall round in the magazine. So, 5.56 is the mini cartridge, and the mini, it's basically limited by the overall length of that cartridge and the bolt face. That bolt face works on 5.56, 223, 300 blackout, and then you bump up to the 308 size or the short action cartridge, and there's a lot of stuff in short action. So you've got the 308 bolt face runs everything from 308 down to 243, including 6.5 Creedmoor, 6 Creedmoor. It's basically the same case. And then all your 243s, 6 millimeters, down to about a 224 Valkyrie, I think, is on a AR-10 platform. I ain't swearing to that. But anyhow, so, but it's basically the same operating system, but everything's a little bigger on a 308. And 308 hits significantly harder. 6.5 does too, unless you get a longer barrel and it's a heavier gun, blah, blah, blah. So how do you like your Vortex Sonora? I'm going to scroll, see what all I'm missing. Now that we've said, all my 1,000-yard buddies use EOTech and Burris. It just depends which one you get. And I've been winning a lot of shit with a Burris scope. A Burris 8-40 XTR Gen 2, and I'm not seeing that. I was just looking yesterday. None of them are in stock anywhere right now, but that's an older scope, and the Gen 3s are out. Gen 3s are expensive. I got the Gen 2 for like $625 around Black Friday. Yeah, I have dots on everything also. BCA. I only know one dude who runs a Loophole. It's like his prized possession. I'm sure it is. Mr. Robbie Hallman is my name. Right on. What do you prefer? I'm just wondering how we got to names. I'm just Bruce. Always Bruce. So, Mister, do you prefer Robbie or do you, 308 shoots 7.62 by 51 to, right, yeah. 308 is 7.62 by 51. No, I take that back because 5.56, excuse me, 7.62 NATO is 7.62 by 51 technically, but it's a lower charged cartridge than 308 Winchester, which is also 7.62 by 51. But I was talking to a guy the other day who was saying, because you always think that you should get the gun that's charged for that's set up for the heavier round. But he was saying that if you get a 7.62 by 51 gun, it'll still run the 308 Winchester. It'll just hit the bolt. The recoil is going to be a little harder on the spring, but it can still handle it. Versus shooting the NATO round, which is a less powerful charge, and it may not run the bolt. And I tried running. I had to. I tried the 7.62 in a gas platform. Excuse me. I tried the 6.5 Creed in a gas platform, and it wouldn't run the bolt on an AR-10. So I changed the buffer and the spring, but I haven't gone back to a 6.5 gas gun, so I don't know if it'll run it or not. Okay, thank you for 224 being regular AR-15. 224 Valkyrie runs on an AR-15, Paul. I like the BDC reticle. Yes, Mr. But 7.62 by 51 shouldn't shoot 308. You want 7.62 NATO. Well, 7.62 NATO. Wait, I was told well, I always thought the opposite also, Paul, because you want the chamber for the more powerful round, but you need but if your gun is set up for 308 it's going to have a stiffer spring and buffer. So this 762 by NATO, the NATO round may not be enough to power it to cycle it, and that's what was happening with my 6.5 Creed gas upper. Was I was stovepiping because it wasn't running the bolt all the way back. So I ended up getting a lighter spring, just a stock spring. It's like using the carbine spring in a 5.56. Carbine spring will run, and buffer will run everything. You start going for heavier springs to soften the recoil, and it won't necessarily run everything. Well, don't take my advice. I'm just a rando. I'm just saying what one of the guys at the gun show told me, who ran a table there. I ain't saying any of it's right because you'll figure it out for yourself. I think that probably the safest deal is to get the 308 Winchester, and then just run 308. And if you're going to run a 6.5, then you're going to have to set that up so it runs that. Was your Delton barrel a NATO of 7.62 by 51 NATO barrel? And see, you got other issues too, because you got to look at if the head spacing and the cartridge um, uh, specs and all that. And I just don't know that much about 308 versus 7.62 by 51. I want to use ballistic tip or XTP rounds. I was told not to use 7.62 NATO. That's why my barrel was originally. Okay. I don't know. And it's too deep a rabbit hole to go into right now. But let's do it on your live. You going? You going? You going? I'm gonna jump out now. I'm going 308 for sure. Just like I can shoot 2 calibers from one gun. Well, yeah, but you'll find out when you get there if you've got the right spring and buffer. But I had to, when I was shooting the 308, shot the 308 great, but I went to the 6.5 Creed, and I ended up switching the spring and buffer to just like the most basic standard stuff I could find because I'd bought heavier buffers, and then it didn't run the 6.5 Creed more. But then the 6.5 Creed still wouldn't gas it, and that was a BCA upper. So I'm like, fuck it, I'll just take it out of a gas program and put it in a bolt action program. And I don't even know about it's just I ended up buying that $99 ballistics advantage barrel because I have a lot more confidence in that barrel manufacturer than BCA ultimately. And you want the best shit you can get and run. You want shit that runs good. Doesn't matter who made it, doesn't matter what it costs. You just want shit that runs. And I was trying to do a bunch of shit with BCA stuff because they sell stuff in Washington that you can't otherwise get in Washington. But it's still too fucking frustrating to deal with their platforms. You're welcome. I hope it's useful. You'll find out, right? Around 7 or 8 year time, you'll try to run it. Right on. Well, I will look for notifications. Because I'm usually on, because we're all stuck in our fucking phones endlessly. All right, I'm shutting it off now. Thank you guys. Love you guys. Totally appreciate you. I'm going to check your channel some more, Mista. And we will chat more soon, I hope. Thank you for being here. And love you guys. Happy Christmas. Merry Christmas. Yes. Check my Snoopy